Hi, I'm Rachel Abbasi. Welcome to the Recovery Daily Podcast. As always, thanks for spending time with me. I heard somebody say this the other day, and I thought, what does that mean? What does that mean? And that always is a topic for me because I get to talk about it and try to figure out what some of these things mean. So I heard in my sobriety meeting, somebody said gratitude should go forward, not backward. So when I think about that statement and what it means to me is that there's a lot of times in my life where I have looked back and thought, thank God that fill in the blank, thank God I had these beautiful children. Thank God I survived my stroke. Thank God I got sober. And I think looking back, it definitely matters to look back and remember where I came from. I mean, that's what helps me in sobriety to look back and remember the struggle and the pain, and that allows me to recognize the growth that I've experienced. And it also allows me to honor the people who have helped me, specifically in sobriety, like my program, my sponsors, my sponsees, really. But when I think about that phrase, gratitude should go forward, not backward, um, gratitude can be transformational when we look at it forward, 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 like when we look at it moving forward. So not just remembering the blessings that we had, but living forward um, because of those blessings, like continuing to respond to the blessings. So that's like putting gratitude into action. So what I mean by that is like, what I tend to do is look backward and get kind of emotionally stuck in my survival story, in the pain and the miracle, the thing that happened, the before and the thing that happened. And I start thinking about what could have happened. I start thinking about what I could have lost. Then I think about what I did lose. And I think about what I escaped from. And so while that reflection is important, um, it's necessary that I limit that time that I'm looking back and really take the lessons from it and apply them to how I'm going to live this life moving forward because of my experiences. That, I believe, is wisdom. I hope that makes sense. It makes sense to me. So, gratitude in action is participating in my life moving forward based on my experiences, or when I think about it, based on my what ifs. Like I don't want to live in the what ifs, the past what ifs. What if this would have happened? What if that would have happened? But just grab the gratitude from it, um, and move forward. So, like, real gratitude changes behavior. And I think this is why my very first sponsor taught me how to think of three gratefuls every day and articulate them, not just think of them, but we had this, it took me a while to get into the habit, but send her a text with three gratefuls every day. And over the years, I would try to pull other people into this practice because it was really helpful to me to just be generally grateful to be alive and um, participate in my life and look back on that day instead of looking back on my whole life and all of my adversities and so forth, but to be presently grateful, and focus on the freedom that I am given today because of that stuff and on an ongoing basis what every day, the freedom that I get every day. And there's a little kitty cat walking by by my window. It's super fluffy and cute. Okay, sorry, shiny coin. So, I can be grateful that my body survived these experiences, my alcoholism, my stroke, this vestibular disorder. But as I was talking about, I think yesterday, or no, it was a couple days ago, I think, um, how I used to punish my body, like because of my experiences, these big events, I can use my gratitude to energize my desire to care for my body now. So gratitude becomes action when I practice self-care, when I rest when I need to rest, when I connect with other people, because connecting with other people really is acknowledging the help that I received in the past. Gratitude in action is helping others and showing up. And gratitude in action for me is using this body and the things that were not taken from me from my stroke and using it for joy, to surface joy, to be creative. I thought of, side note, another shiny coin. I have a brilliant idea for a craft show in October. And you'll have to follow me on Facebook to see what it is. But I'm gonna try it out today and we'll see how it goes. But it's super cool, this idea. I'm excited. Okay, moving forward. So gratitude in action, it allows me to keep growing. And gratitude, like it's easy to say, I'm grateful for, and when you do this on a daily basis, it almost starts to feel repetitive until you sit down and really allow the time, the space to think about what happened today that I'm grateful for. And so I still do this every night when I thank God for my body. I think about what did I do today that I may not have been able to do had my stroke been different, but presently, how am I living gratefully? It's harder to live gratefully than it is to just say I'm grateful for. So at the end of the day, I'm acknowledging what I'm grateful for, but during the day, I'm living gratefully. So what that means for me is I'm doing the things. I'm going for a walk. I'm creating, I'm working on my painting, which I've made some progress with, my puppy painting. Um, I'm sitting down and I'm thinking through. If you haven't figured this out, my brain doesn't stop until I lay down and go to sleep. And most of the time, when I'm sitting but in the living room with my husband and he's watching TV and I'm listening and he says something to me um, in response to something that was on the TV, I don't have any idea what the TV just said because I'm constantly thinking about creative like artwork, like what is something new that I can make. It's almost bizarre, like it never turns off. But I think that I'm living gratefully when I do that. Like when I'm going the extra mile and like showing kindness, like giving somebody a call and saying, I really loved what you shared in the meeting today. This is how it resonated to me. Um, and being patient with myself is living gratefully. I have had a terrible time remembering and being able to put my words together lately. Um, I'm sure it's not as apparent on the episodes because I have an outline in front of me that I'm referencing so I don't forget what I'm saying and what I'm gonna say. It's in this outline. If I didn't have that, there's no way that I could create a 20, 30 minute episode. So anyway, and I just lost everything that I was saying because I went off script. I went off script. Um, Action creates the feeling, not the other way. So this is my next note. So we're going to start with that. Um, I did not walk into sobriety with the feeling of joy and serenity. I had to do the work. And that's what I mean by the action creates the feeling. Um, I needed to move my body in order to um, uncover that gratitude. Like, it's gratitude on another level. It's it's like it's hard for me to articulate. It's just like being grateful in the present. I guess that's the only way that I can say it's living gratefully. I guess that's the best way for me to say what that means for me. So when I look at the phrase gratitude should go forward, not backward, that's what I mean. Living gratefully. So my sobriety taught me how to do this. Early sobriety showed me that gratitude was not, thank God I survived, but instead it's, what am I going to do with the life I almost lost? Um, Gratitude is what moves me towards meetings and connection and my creativity. And gratitude is what really in stroke recovery brought purpose back into my life after my stroke. I began to appreciate life on a whole new emotional level. I started participating in life spiritually. I think it's when I think about it, I think about the desperation that I felt. Like when I think about the connection of spirituality to how I was trying to live gratefully after my stroke, I think about the fear that I was experiencing. I really was. The stroke recovery deepened what I had learned in sobriety about not being focused entirely on what was taken and what had changed and how I was damaged. Even though some grief is necessary, I can't live there. Eventually, as I worked with my psychiatrist and gone to meetings, sobriety meetings, and stroke recovery meetings, my gratitude started to turn into using my voice, creating the podcast, painting, sewing, being available for others, and adapting to my new life instead of resisting. Yeah, gratitude forward is what can I still do with what I have? And that sounds kind of depressing, but it's about participating, being willing, being open to adapt. And the more that I live gratefully, the more that my life seems to expand. Um, And I'm just going to stop there because honestly, my brain is not all here. It's not all here. It's having a hard time this morning. I'm not quite sure why. What did I do yesterday that's impacted? I've been on like a 4 day just brain fog. And I think it's because I'm pushing myself too far. And because I take medication for the pain in my head, it's just it's it's turning off that pain sensor, and instead it's impacting my speech and my memory. So I'm definitely not all here. So I'm gonna stop. But I think the topic is good. I got where I needed to get as far as like what does living gratefully mean? Great gratitude forward. What does that mean? So I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop and I'll talk to you next time.